Hello, and welcome to Baki Talki. We're back for Baki the movie. I don't even know if this is considered a movie. Maybe it's called OVA. Maybe it's called a very special episode. I think you compared it to the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour back on Nickelodeon, because this is a 58-minute experience. But with me to discuss the first third and a little bit of an overall picture, we have returning guest. It's my cousin, Andrew.
Thanks for having me back. I'm quite excited.
Yeah.
I did my homework before coming. I brought snacks. I prepared.
Quality snacks. I didn't even know Chips Ahoy and Mini Eggs had a cross promotion.
I actually Googled what the favorite snacks are of Oma and Baki were before coming. And I couldn't find any udon or curry in Shoppers Drug Mart on the way here. And
I was gonna guess that Baki wasn't a big fan of Chips Ahoy.
No, that's not Baki's. That's the Kengan Asura favorites.
Okay.
The Baki favorites, I don't think you can buy at a store because they're entire animals, bones and all.
Hey, editor Steve here with a quick correction. Andrew actually just searched Google for Baki food, and the entry he got was from Narutopedia. So this isn't the Baki that we usually talk about on this podcast.
Or teeth? I didn't understand that one.
Oh, if you can eat teeth, you can eat anything.
Pretty much.
That would actually be horrifying. If you could train your teeth to eat teeth,
Or
you might just eat your own
Baki
teeth.
ate teeth, apparently.
Did it say what type of teeth?
It said his friend's teeth,
I'm going to guess a giant gorilla that he was friends with. That's just a guess.
Yeah.
The funny thing is he really wasn't friends with too many people other than those apes.
We gotta go to the Reddit comments and correct them.
Watching this one just reminded me how much about Baki I don't know. Like when Jack started vomiting as a power-up, I was just like, I gotta look this up. I think
this is spoilers. We're overreaching our third.
Well, so we can talk about the other stuff. The focus is on this third, but I expect most people, I think I have a lot of hardcore fans of the show, but I don't think they're going to watch 1/3 of the movie and then wait 2 weeks or so. So yeah, we're going to be talking about this. Yeah, I guess I usually start with a random question just to get things going. So what before this movie, what was the most recent movie that you've watched?
It shouldn't be as hard of a question as it's feeling right now.
Yeah.
I watched We Got a Ghost. About a family who's got a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, very touching movie, actually. Tearjerker.
Who's in it?
Also should be a very easy question, considering I watched it days ago, but I think I'll leave that as an exercise for the listeners.
All right. This is the real spoilers. We don't want to tell you who's in the movie. Yeah. I just watched Fall Guy. It's a stuntman movie. It's not about the Fall Guys video game. It was good.
Who's in it?
Ryan Gosling. And,
oh, wow, look at you, all prepared.
Yeah, I took notes on that movie. All right. So, first off, I made a special priority of getting you as a guest for these episodes because I know that you've actually watched Kengan Asura, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that was my claim to fame for my last episode.
Yes.
If you guys remember the podcast episode.
Everybody listening remembers every episode. All 84 of them at this point.
84 listeners?
I wish. 84 episodes.
Okay.
I think we get about 50 listeners an episode, which is it's pretty good for a podcast. I don't know if I can't trust Spotify on that, though. But anyway.
Leave a comment.
Everybody leave a comment to prove you exist. And go subscribe to Baki Talki. Leave a review. Subscribe to the Anime Jukebox, my new podcast. Anyway, Andrew, you have watched Kengan Asura. What did you think about this movie going into it? And do you think that the movie did a good job of representing that franchise?
So, they did a good job... Cut. I'm going to make your editing life hard.
Keep going. Power through.
It's the buffer.
Yeah.
I was really curious how they were going to have the 3D and 2D together.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little disappointed not to see a 3D Baki, I'm not going to lie. I can understand why, due to budgetary constraints, they might have gone for the everyone becomes 2D.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun to see characters animated a little different. I was excited when I saw like Cosmo and other like in the audience.
Yeah.
I was a little less excited when he wasn't the first one out there.
Were you less excited every time they cut to him sitting in the exact same pose?
Because his whole thing is where he sits in the Kengan Asura. He'll like sit on your head and pop your head off, like legs around your neck kind of type thing, you know?
That's funny.
And you never even get to see him.
Yeah, no.
He's probably straddling a watermelon.
He's just doing that out of sight the whole movie.
Exactly. You don't know.
So yeah, let's talk about briefly one thing about this movie, the budget. I think that this was a very cheaply made sort of cash grab. I don't know if you could even call it a cash grab because I don't think they're going to make money off this.
Come on, no way! This place doesn't pay out cash rewards? This has got to be a joke.
They reuse a lot of shots throughout the movie.
Yeah, I think it, like we were talking, it would be very exciting to have one version of the movie with only the fighting and another of only the peanut gallery. Just like you could put it as a background when you're studying or something.
Oh my god. I have 2 monitors. I want them to be the two peanut
simultaneously galleries. Would actually be kind of exciting. You can hear them talk about the fight as it's actually happening.
Yeah.
I think someone should make a fan edit.
Hey, you guys. All of these underground arena dudes. See their faces? Don't you think they're just a little too scary?
Yeah, oh my god.
Or like a VR edit where you can be in the gallery with them watching the fight and then the comments happen during the fight.
Now that is... People are always looking for like a practical use for VR, and I think that might be the killer app that Meta is looking for.
Yeah, toss in some AI.
What I enjoyed so much about the Peanut Gallery is, especially the Baki crew, because it was about 6 dudes sitting in 2 rows, is it looked like a jury box. Like they just sat there the whole time, and it was such a lame group of people. Also, like, I should clarify, it's not all lame. They've got Retsu, Kaiokaku, Kitsumi, but the back row is made up of Chiharu, Kato, and Kyojaku, which is the guy who kept trying to shake Retsu's hand. I think they picked them to be like comedic, but they don't give them a lot to work with throughout the movie, so they're just sort of sitting there. I don't know. It's an odd ensemble.
If there was a high crime in the Baki universe, what would be the most heinous crime to be?
Oh, the most heinous crime. I'm gonna say...
Other than weakness.
Other than weakness. The worst thing you could do in Baki, I think, would be to... devote your life to, academics maybe, or maybe go into a career in industry. I think anything outside of like working on your body, maybe being fat, I don't know. That would probably be up there.
So if you're like a mad doctor, is that all right, or is that like they don't tend to do too well from my experience?
No. If you're the type of doctor, if you're a dissector, or you're a type of doctor who brings back cavemen for other people to fight, I think that's okay. Like if your science is geared towards, we've had scientists on Baki who explained that like, the jaw strength of a person is indicative of how strong they are. Like that guy went out and took college grads, did like a study. And helped promote fighting people on the streets. That stuff's fine. But, if you went and, like, wrote a book, that's probably not going to be seen lightly.
Depends if you wrote it holding the pencil with your jaw.
If the pencil doesn't break while you're writing it...
And you're using your blood to scribe it out.
Exactly. All right, so let's dive into the chronological stuff. So the movie starts, they're on a bridge. Baki is jogging. Oma, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Oma, I always think that his name is going to be Kengan Asura. But Oma, the protagonist of Kengan Asura, is jogging on the same bridge. And as they get close to each other, the earth begins to shake. What did you take from that?
Well, the earth didn't shake. It was the bridge.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if the bridge was gonna be that famous
oh my God.
engineering example where it starts like wobbling, becoming like spaghetti in the air, and everyone starts freaking out.
That would be amazing.
Oma! We're having an earthquake.
I was wondering if like this was supposed to represent that like the worlds were colliding, like a transference of the dimensions they were in.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if they had the same pop culture, if there was like a parallel universe thing, they'd just gone through like a portal, because they didn't seem to know who Pickle was.
That's the most interesting thing.
Like, how do you not know who this man is?
I love the idea that Pickle just sort of came and went, and it's just one of those stories you hear.
Oh, look at that guy. He's pretty tall. He's like 6'6".
VH1s remember the 2020s. Do you guys remember the caveman? He killed a T-Rex. Yeah, the 6'6". Oh my god, I talked about that I think every episode of the Pickle season. So we're not going to get into Pickle's height, other than to say that he's not 6'6". Also, if anybody wants great Pickle content, the Baki manga, which is still publishing new stuff every week, Pickle just came back this week, and it was really cool. He walked up to a dumpster full of trash and then got on all fours and licked up all of the garbage juice, just like licking milk off the ground.
Where was this garbage? Was this like behind like a movie theater?
Yeah, just like dumpster trash.
Yeah, but like there's different tiers of dumpster trash. It's like picking a mushroom
it looked like
in France versus
it looked like an alleyway, like a gross alleyway.
Not like behind like a bistro or something. Like it might still be good food.
Got like a nice aroma to it.
Yeah, like, this is garlic bread. It's barely been touched.
I didn't get the vibe that it had a good garlic aroma. He had just ate a pigeon before that. Anyway, just a little plug for the Baki manga, just in case the author feels like suing me. I'm promoting buy the manga, and watch it on Netflix. So Baki and Oma, the earthquakes. Then Baki, I guess, sort of runs away or something, because when Oma looks around, he doesn't see Baki.
I wasn't sure if he had... It feels like a very Baki move to have just jumped off the bridge and, like, swam away. Like,
that's why the
anything
stopped.
Walking or running just seems too predictable.
Yeah. Baki somehow is off the bridge. And then the movie starts with... we were talking about how cheap things are. A very uninspiring opening where we just sort of slideshow our way through the cast. The theme is a banger, though.
I was actually pretty excited because like there's a lot of hype at that point. Mm-hmm. So I kind of accepted, like, oh, I know that person. Oh, it's like going through a yearbook or something.
Yeah, honestly, that would be a really cool yearbook if you're flipping through it and everybody's making the poses like Baki. Oh, anybody who's in the yearbook class, feel free to take that idea.
So one thing that I was wondering was, where was the fight going to take place? I was a little disappointed they used the Tokyo Dome.
What? Oh, is the Kengan one so much better?
I feel like they've got like box seats and it's a bit more of like a production. This is like a very like, I think it was the appropriate venue, but they still had spectators though. So that was, they didn't really like visit that. They've got like 7 people in the whole arena.
Yeah.
Or like a dozen. But they've got like 60 people in a private viewing room. So I feel like the Kengan Asura, with the box seats and the kind of like higher production value, could have seated everybody.
I agree. I think it makes sense for the type of like marquee match that they're doing. Like, they are selling it to these people. Why not use the boxes? I have to assume the answer is just that Baki is the more popular show, and so like they took the art style of Baki, they took the turf from Baki. I think that they just decided to give Baki a bit of an edge.
How do you think the animators from Kengan Ashura felt like, or were they involved in the animation of this? You'll know by the next episode.
I would say, how did the animators feel? Lindsay used to work in film, and I know animation's different. I would say they probably don't give one shit about this movie. I don't know. I feel like when you're working on a project, it's not always something that you're passionate about.
If I was the guy who like did the Kengan Ashura faces and like did the hand animation over the 3D bodies, and then saw someone just like put a freeze frame for the fight where he stands still and just punches without moving his feet, I think I'd lose my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
That's not what he looks like.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, these fights though.
I'm glad they color coded them though.
Yeah.
Very helpful for the audience, so you know who's on which team.
Well, I'm just interested. This was something I was thinking about when they announced the movie. Like, both Kengan Asura and Baki come from mangaka who have been in the industry for ages, right? Drawing these things. They're great at what they do. And because of that, they're able to create these fun fight choreography and basically have already storyboarded the fight. But I don't think either of them were involved in this movie. So the fight choreography at 90% of the time is just two dudes standing 2 feet apart from each other and going left, like it's Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, their arms can't even fully extend.
Yeah.
They're so close to each other.
Yeah.
And they're just punching each other. And it's like, spoiler alert, it's a very repetitive
Formula?
yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. Because, you know, if you do it in one fight, that's fine.
It's funny. It's kind of like, ha.
And it's probably, the first fight is probably the best one, I'd say.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. You weren't sure who was going to win. Well, I was sure.
Yeah. Well, we both, you were locked in immediately.
Oh, I saw the guy. I knew it.
The guy who will remember his name.
I immediately forgot his name.
Don't forget my name! Sanpei Yonoizaka!
Sao Pao or something. Yeah, so the first fight, before we get to the first fight, everybody just meets their partners from the other universe, basically. Like, we got our judo guys meeting the judo guys. We got Biscuit Oliver meeting the guy from Prometheus.
Wow, you're like a perfect buff sculpture. Not a single flaw as far as I can see.
You're quite the spectacle yourself. Tell me, how did you manage to build so much muscle?
It was easy. You'd be surprised what you can achieve just by lifting a helicopter or two.
My favorite, though, I want to talk about both of these, is the Dissector meeting Kureha, the buff doctor, and Mr. Genocider meeting Gaia.
I wanted to see how you'd react. I mean, you were given the name the Genocider, so I'm curious.
Which one should we start with?
Oh, Genocider. Like,
Yeah.
What a name.
So does he show up in Kengan Asura?
I can barely remember who was in the movie I watched a few days ago. I can't remember an anime from 6 years ago.
You'd think the Genocider would leave a real impression, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, what a title! Like, how do you? I guess it's pretty obvious how you get that name, but
They didn't really elaborate on it though.
good, you know.
Yeah.
The funniest part though was the Genocider was put in charge of guarding the door with Gaia. Gaia's the guy who throws sand at people. Almost a worse crime than Mr. Genocider. But Mr. Genocider says,
Anyway, I doubt this security detail will keep us too busy.
Huh?
The arena is chock full of absolute monsters. Someone would have to be a total wacko to want to attack this place.
"You don't want to go in there. That's where the real monsters are."
Which is terrifying. Truly.
Especially because, like the first match, like, the guy they're fighting is just a guy who keeps going, "I refuse to lose."
I think they should have hired you as a voice actor.
Oh my god. I'm just going to put this out here. Maybe I'm just used to the Baki voices. All of the Kengan voices just sounded horrible.
Oh, man.
Mr. Orochi, listen, I gotta tell you, my dad was a big fan.
I feel like I wonder if they got just sneakily swapped out some of the voice actors. You wouldn't even notice.
Yeah. Like, they just had conflicts for this movie, yeah. Because the first two fighters in the Kengan one are just... The first guy sounds like Ash Ketchum.
I refuse to lose.
And the second guy sounds like a step up from Waspinator from, like, Beast Wars. Like,
You're done already? Stuck in low gear, that it? So lame. What's the deal?
oh my god. I'm gonna have to
You
watch.
got some editing where you got to put in the clips now.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna have so much fun on the second episode of this.
And we've got one more introduction. It was the two guys who don't have eyes or can't see, but they can scream really loud.
Yeah.
And I got really excited. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hear an awesome scream, and he doesn't do it. He's like, I could do it, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And I was like waiting for it to come up, and it thought it was foreshadowing. And it was just like a one-liner. Like the amount of cameos in the first 5-10 minutes, it felt like everyone just had like a line for the sake of like saying a line.
Yeah, it was just checklist, get all that out of the way. Yeah.
Was there anyone who didn't make the checklist that you were hoping for?
They did a pretty good job. I think the biggest people that were cut out, obviously Kozue, Baki's girlfriend.
Yeah, that was also Oma's girlfriend. I was gonna say Kengan Asura's girlfriend.
They should have fought. That would have been perfect.
Oh, that would have been unreal.
Or they could have ended the fight. Muhammad Ali Jr. or Muhammad Ali, I would have really liked to see. Che Guevara in a similar sense.
I feel like Doyle got robbed a bit.
Yeah, he shows up right at the end.
Yeah, well, that was like, okay, you're just rub it in our face. He didn't even get a seat. I guess he's not allowed. No.
Well, they haven't done anything with his character in like 20 years. I hope that we see more of the death row inmates. I hope in Kengan Asura vs. Baki 2 they show up.
How many of these think they're going to make?
They've only announced one. So,
I feel like they made a bunch of money off of it.
Well, so this is the thing. Everything I read nowadays is that anime is more popular. And if you look at Netflix
we're
stats,
the cool kids now.
Let's not go overboard. But if you look at Netflix stats, in the last half of last year, Baki had the most viewing hours of any anime except One Piece. And I think that's unfair because that means that each Baki episode is like doing better than One Piece because like they have 10,000 One Piece episodes.
Do they count like looping it over and over again?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it just more of a dedicated fan base for Baki?
I think it's I think it's both. I think it's wide and dedicated. But the thing is, Baki's production is very slow. Like it took like 2.5 years to get Baki Hanma season 2. It might have taken longer than that. So I think that what they're trying to do is to make people stay interested. That while there's these gaps, they're just going to keep pumping out Kengan Ashura. So
what about? Do you think there could be another crossover, like Baki versus like?
I think you could. I think you could do Baki versus Record of Ragnarok.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, it would be funny because then Baki's on the other side. Like in this one, it's like they have to make the Kengan Ashura people look cool to deal with, like because Baki's stuff is sort of overpowered. But if they do Record of Ragnarok,
well, Record of Ragnarok, like they've got the humans somewhat, but the humans have like
but he's fighting like Lu Bu, like
yeah.
Who do they even have? I think Nikola.
They had Jack the Ripper.
Oh my god, I hate that so much. I there's some things where it's just I feel like it's a cultural divide. Like if you live in Japan, maybe you just think of Jack the Ripper as like this cool, but like he's just a serial killer in London. Like,
did you see that whole sob story about his mom and him?
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not up to date on Record Ragnarok, but I watched that and
I think there's probably another like half dozen fighting arc movies or like animes.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think of ones the Netflix owns. It'd be a good one, Baki versus Haikyuu, the volleyball anime.
Oh, playing volleyball?
One round of volleyball and one round of fighting to the death.
Oh, then there's the basketball like spin-off as well, right?
Slam dunk.
That sounds about right.
Sure. I don't think that's a spin-off of Haikyuu, but
oh, my eyes it is.
Baki versus Violet Evergarden. Yeah, I would watch all of those.
Start putting them in cook-offs. Like, sky's the limit for the Baki like crossovers.
Put the cast of Baki into Physical 100, and my mom will watch it the entire way.
So I guess animate the Physical 100, or get like live actors to pretend to be Baki.
I would do it like the old Oscars where they would animate like Mike and Scully in like the seats to win the Best Picture,
like a Hatsune Miku. Concert.
Oh, perfect! Now I can add clips of Hatsune Miku into this.
1, 2, 3, ready? Miku Miku.
Let's get into the actual fight between Ash Ketchum and Kaoru Hanayama. So we both came to a decision very early on who would win this fight. You were the first, though. Why did you think that Hanayama was going to win?
Oh, because I knew that the Sao Paulo guy. He was just like never gonna make it. He was one of the guys who gets knocked out like fairly early in the Kengan stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's no way. That other guy is like a recurring character, like a fan favorite.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no way.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And see, I had two things in my mind. One, to my knowledge, Hanayama is a very popular character in Japan. I watched this documentary on Netflix that is called Inside Anime, or I didn't actually watch it. I watched 5 minutes of it because it's about Baki.
Now I can tell people that I heard about it from my cousin who watched 5 minutes of it.
There you go. the best source. And they have this really funny 2-minute interview with the director of Baki. And they ask him like 3 questions. And it's like, what's your favorite line? And the guy can't think of any. What's your favorite death row inmate? And he's like, I don't know. And then it's like, how did it feel like getting to draw Hanayama? And I'm like, why are you at? Like, Hanayama has like 1 episode and like the.
Did you have an answer for that one at least?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Yeah, that was the right question to ask.
Like I loved working with the character. Anyway, so I know that Hanayama is a very popular character, and the second thing that made me know that he's gonna win is the Sao Paulo guy. He just started moving around really quick and landing a lot of soft blows on him.
Man, he's fast.
How about a second helping?
It's never gonna work. It's never gonna work on anybody, and it's never gonna work on Hanayama, the guy whose strategy is to punch you really hard. And to use the same, like, he's so good at conserving energy that he uses the same punch animation, I think, about 5 times. Yeah, the fight's pretty fun though. What are the beats that it goes?
The best part is when the forearm.
Oh my god!
Like grabs it like a Kool-Aid jammer and just squeezes.
Just squeezes. It looked like a scene out of Akira. Like it looked like his arm was going to explode.
I think it was one of the best scenes of the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree. Well, this fight was the only fight that I thought followed a fun progression.
Oh, I agree, yeah.
Like, you have the little guy who's too fast, and then Hanayama's just like, oh, well, I'm too strong. And then...
But it turns out
that Ash Ketchum refused to lose, has an adamantium skull that he's gotten from...
Not just a skull, all his bones.
All of his bones. From, according to a guy, hitting himself with hammers and banging his head into rocks.
Every day since he was 5, he's been putting his skull through brutal training in order to toughen it.
Like what?
He'd hit his head with a hammer, or slam his head against some rocks. Thanks to that, Sapang now has a skull that's harder than metal. It also helps explain his personality.
And he uses, and at this point it's like, Hanayama breaks his fist.
I don't even know how your fingers end up in that shape when you're punching.
I know, right?
Like, they're like all bent in different directions. But meanwhile, he punched him with a fist, and somehow like his fingers splayed out backwards.
Yeah, and it's such a classic martial arts move. The idea that somebody's gonna punch me, I block with my forehead. I feel like I've seen that in Baki, and I've seen it outside of Baki. The idea of the skull being the strongest part of and this guy's skull is incredibly strong. So we have an interesting thought experiment. We have a man who relies on punching his opponents in the face, and a man whose strategy is to let you hit him in the face because his skull is unbreakable.
Yeah, facing your punches.
Yeah, and he does like a little wind up with his spine to like.
Yeah, he's like trying to make it harder.
Yeah. How does it go for like who wins this rock in a hard place?
I think the audience wins here. Speaking of which, I was a little disappointed that the commentators didn't chime in more. The announcers showed up a bit during the first fight, but they didn't really give me too much announcing. I didn't know what to think as an audience member.
I agree. Jerry Tyson and the other girl, they show up and they seem very enthusiastic to be there and talking and stuff.
Hello! I'm going to be serving as one of the commentators in the arena today. Sayaka Katahara.
Me too! The name's Jerry Tyson!
And their mics went dead.
Yeah. I think they took a lunch.
Yeah.
Just
while they're out to lunch, Sao Paulo Did not survive.
No. Yeah.
The killer move was when your other guy whose name I forgot.
Hanayama?
Yeah, Hanayama, yeah, ripped off his suit. How did that look when he did it?
Hell if I know, because they just cut away. Just like most things in this movie, if they can, they will cut away and then have people describe it. Like Baki's whip stripe. I don't know if you noticed, they didn't show Hanayama pulling his pants off. I don't even know, what is this motion? Like pulling your pants off as if you were wearing,
like you're pulling a giant carrot out of the ground.
Yeah.
Like 2 giant carrots, like a shoulder width apart.
Yeah, that was an intimidation move, or I assume it was. I like to imagine it was.
I don't know when he changed into his underwear though, because like you would have seen that through the suit. Like that's pretty like wrapped up. Like he didn't have lines, and all of a sudden he's got this like thick rope underwear.
Yeah.
There's no way.
You think he ripped off his stuff fully naked and then just sort of quickly
I think as he ripped it, he bunched some of it up
Okay.
and like roped it up.
I can see why they cut away. This would probably have been a bit much for Netflix.
I'm just wondering what style that was.
Yeah. I'll look that up and get back to it.
If not, we can add it to the wiki.
Editor Steve here. Don't mind the music. My daughter's trying to sleep. I had to look up Hanayama underwear, which was a treat, but it's called Fundoshi. Baki Wiki. What style's Hanayama's underwear?
So is this now canon in the Baki universe that some of these abilities exist?
No. That's my take on it. I don't think this is canon. The fun thing is Kengan Asura has like a bunch of spin-off things in its universe. There's like How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, which is a manga about 4 girls, I think, who just go to the gym together. So it's
there like powers and fights, or
No,
they just go to the gym?
They just go to the gym.
Do they lift dumbbells?
I think they do. I looked into watching it for this.
Oh, it's a
It's
a
an
TV
anime
show.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. But that's what I mean. Kengan's got sort of a weird universe, and Baki's got an even weirder universe. So if you join them, it would just be a massive clusterfuck. I like to think of this as not canon, but that's just me. The authoritative Baki podcast, so I think that holds some weight. So the fight ends.
Yeah, that. I didn't take notes this time.
That's fine.
So we can just ad lib it.
The fight ends. Hanayama says my most, not favorite line, but the line that made me just laugh. I think he said, "That was a great fight," which not really, and then goes, "We'll have to fight again someday," and I'm like, never gonna happen.
Yeah,
Not
that
a
guy
chance
is
in
like
hell.
one-armed now.
Yeah, but on the off chance where we get Baki versus Kengan Asura 2, people are not going to be asking for a Hanayama rematch.
I think they should just reuse the scene. They've already animated it. It's perfect. You again. Let me rematch you. How did that turn out the same way?
I want to make a recut of this movie that is just the exact same movie, but the audio just has them referencing the fact that this is the second time.
Why stop at one? Just get AI and like automate it. You can put out 20 full-length movies.
You know, I was thinking about, people always say like AI is gonna like, AI generated stuff, and I think that AI generated stories, I don't know if I believe it'll get there, but I think that AI generated anime is something that people would have to worry about, because like you have manga out there, right? Complete storyboard of the story you want to tell. You have thousands of hours of anime that show how it looks after you've adapted it, and especially with how trope filled and generic they are, like I feel like you could very easily program, not very easily, but more attainable than most AI goals is just like give it a manga and it just creates it into an anime.
Yeah, I think you just need to import sklearn. You're pretty much done.
Man, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, the danger is that everyone ends up with like 6 or 7 fingers on each hand.
That's not a danger. That's an improvement.
Yeah, if they can fight better, they can.
They start talking about it.
Yeah,
the 6-finger punch.
That would be that's when you know the AI is about to break free.
They've evolved past humanity.
Or they've listened to this podcast as part of training the AI.
Oh my god. I think about that if anybody ever wanted to make an AI model on my voice, like, easy. To be honest, probably if they wanted to make an AI model on your voice. You've been on now 2 episodes.
And this is when we reveal to you that this whole episode, I've been an AI trained off the first episode.
This is, of course, Baki, but the A and the I are capitalized. Baki AI. Oh my god. That's funny. So that's about takes us to the end of the first 21 minutes. This movie is so short. It's 58 minutes. It's 62 with the credits and stuff. But I don't know what to call it. Like, it feels like a joke to call it a movie. Like, I could go see like a baby movie and it would be longer than this.
If you actually cut down all the still scenes, you'd have a normal episode. It's just an episode.
A very special episode.
It is a special episode.
Yeah.
Have you read any reviews or what people think of this?
I was on the Baki subreddit today. I was taking a look at it. People are pretty positive. A lot of people are calling it peak. I think that they are, what's it called? Giving it a lot of leeway. I think that if you forget the movie you just watched and you just condense it into like 8 facts in your head and go, oh, it did this, 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 and this.
And I like Baki.
Yeah.
I like Baki. This had Baki in it. Nothing else I did today had Baki in it.
This is the peak.
It's gotta be the peak of my day.
Peak fiction. I think if you database the movie, like, you just take out all of the artistic measure of it, it can be pretty enjoyable.
I think anything Baki is enjoyable as long as you have the right crowd.
Yes. Well, that's the tough. I recently made a My Anime List account so that I could remember anime that I've watched, which has been fun. I feel like it's like Letterboxd, but lamer. And part of that is ranking stuff, right? Like, give it a ranking from 1 to 10. And I'm so confused on what I should give Baki. Because I'm like, objectively, I can't say it's the best show.
You gotta vote for your favorite show.
Well, that's the thing. I enjoy it so much. Like, how, like,
you've fallen down into the abyss when you start going on to other shows and rating them lower because you want people to agree with your rankings. And if the rankings don't already align with your views, you've got to go like 1 star another show you've never watched.
Yeah, the silent voice is okay, but have you guys watched Baki?
Yeah, while you're at it, Attack on Titan. 10 stars.
Great show.
That would be who do you think would win there, a Titan or Baki?
Oh my god, a Titan or Baki? Baki. I think it would take a little bit. He'd have to figure out that he has to go for the neck. But I think eventually he would start imagining that he is a Titan.
Well, he's already trained against their main move against it because his brother's already. I think there's a little bit of Titan in his brother.
Yeah,
he's got the size element. He's got the biting.
I think the Titan would get to the point where he puts Baki in the mouth, and then Baki would do the thing where like he keeps the mouth open. Yeah, that'd be great. I think Attack on Titan would be a much quicker show, a lot less philosophical. If Baki was there. All right. Andrew, any thoughts on the rest of the movie? Just at a high level?
You know how I am with these questions. Every single thought I had 5 seconds ago has now vacated the premises.
Okay, here, let me rephrase it to a simpler question. Tying into what I was saying. So I struggle to rank Baki. On a scale of 1 to 10, where does this movie land?
10.
Oh my god.
Because it's the best one I've seen today.
Right. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being we have a ghost, where does this movie land?
Oh, 5.
Okay. Because it is a movie, I guess.
Pretty much.
All right, amazing. All right, that's... Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Andrew. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
We're almost at 2 minutes of discussing for every 1 minute of Baki. So if you don't cut any of this, or if you add some footage,
I'll add some stuff.
We'll be able to get to a 2-hour podcast about a 1-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's the analysis it deserves.
Honestly, yeah. It's crazy to think how much more I've talked about Baki than what's been made. But, you know, I'm only talking half the time, so. All right. Well, that's all the Baki we've got to talkie. We're doing 2 more episodes before I've milked this movie dry. So tune in next week. Check out the other podcast, and I'll see you all next week.
I mean, thank you.
Just blow out my mic.
Sorry.
What do I have to do? What do I